When I was 29 years old, then, I was a real estate developer, one of 4 guys who were building shopping centers and office buildings in Toronto. Nice cars, nice house, nice salary. And then God called me into a different direction, into the ministry, to become a pastor. And this week I realized, for the first time, and honestly realized, that I will never catch up to that salary again. I had always thought that with inflation and, whatever, some future fame and fortune, I would make as much money as I made now almost 18 years ago. Sometime before I die, maybe by mid-70s or something, I'd be there. And I've now realized that I won't. And then a couple months ago, for a couple of months, started carrying this other thought in my mind that I probably won't ever be rich financially from my salary in a church, but a book was being written at the time, and New Hope Church had said, the leadership team, it's your deal. You sign your deal, and if there's money involved, it's your deal. And so I thought, oh, excellent. I'm going to retire on my book. I knew, God, you wouldn't let me down after selflessly walking away from career 1. But then I had a dream over Christmas, just before the New Year's. And in my dream, I woke up at 3 or 4 in the morning, and I was just sweating and really filled with righteous indignation and anger. In my dream, I was attending a meeting, and there were like 15 or 20 key stakeholders in the church gathered around a table. And not our local church. This was sort of the regional church in Canada. So people I knew who had given their lives to do this formal church ministry thing, right? And we're all meeting together, and the guy sitting at the head of the table is leading the meeting, only he's not fully there. And somehow in my dream, I can see that he's checking his BlackBerry under the table all the time. And then in my dream, I see that he gets interrupted, and he realizes that he's got some laundry, some pressed shirts to pick up. And so he cuts the meeting short. All these people from all over Canada come here because they're investing their lives in this bigger thing. And this guy who's leading it is doing something for himself, so small, so insignificant, so dumb. Like, how could he do that? And I was just filled with incredulity as I woke up that this guy would feather his nest, his own personal nest, at the cost of others. And thinking about that dream, as soon as I woke up, I knew what I had to do about the book and change the deal. And so now it's a New Hope with the publisher thing. And John, other than writing it, is out of the deal. Thinking about that dream, about that profound sense of anger that somebody would do that to a group of others, it made me wonder if God sometimes feels that about us and about you. The times we make selfish, greedy, me first choices. And I wonder if it's how Jesus felt when he read or told a parable which very much conveyed his Father, God the Father's heart about the issue. Someone out of the crowd said, this is from the Gospel of Luke chapter 12, someone out of the crowd said, "Teacher, Jesus, order my brother to give me a fair share of my family inheritance." So obviously a little greed at play here. He replied, "Mister, what makes you think it's any of my business to be a judge or a mediator for you?" And then speaking to the people, Jesus went on, "Take care, protect yourself against the least bit of greed. Life is not defined by what you have, even when you have a lot." And then he told them this story, this parable. The farm of a certain rich man produced a terrific crop. He talked to himself, "What can I do? My barn isn't big enough for the harvest." And then he said, "Here's what I'll do. I'll tear down my barns and build bigger ones. Then I'll gather in all my grain and goods, and I'll say to myself," notice all the I's in this, "I'll say to myself, self, you've done well. You've got it made and can now retire. Take it easy and have the time of your life." And just then, God showed up and said, "Fool, tonight you die, and your barn full of goods, who gets it?" That's what happens, Jesus said, when you fill your barn with self and not with God. That's what happens when you fill your life with self and not with God. God is writing a cool story, a very beautiful story in our little faith community here in Calgary. And for me personally, how in the world could I ever have thought that I should do a business deal on a book telling the story of our community and feather my own nest as a result? How could I hoard that blessing or steal it? God is writing a wonderful story through you and through your life with all of its gifts and blessings and everything. How could you possibly think that holding it all to yourself, for only yourself, is what God's intent is? Greed is about taking care of yourself first. It's about acting in your own self-interest before you act in the interest of others. It's about feathering your own nest. It's a way of living that denies God, ignores the fact that God is present in your life, that He has power in your life, that He has some control over what happens in your life. Greed is saying, I am the God of my life, I have power over my life, and I am the one who will control every facet, especially my financial resources in my life. I am the one who saves me, says the greedy person. Jesus continued the subject with His disciples. Don't fuss about what's on the table at mealtimes or if the clothes in your closet are in fashion. There's far more to your inner life than food, the food you put in your stomach, more to your outer appearance than the clothes you hang on your body. Look at the ravens, free and unfettered, not tied down to a job description, carefree in the care of God. And you count far more. There is far more to you and me than all that superficial material stuff. There is more to you than what your bank balance is, or the size of your now somewhat depleted RRSP is.